Welcome, Autobots and Decepticons, to another Transformers toy review. Today we're taking a look at Studio Series Grimlock and Autobot Wheelie. This is from their 86 Transformers the Movie line. So this is the first kind of batch of 86 figures that I've picked up. I ordered mine from in-demand toy stores. So I ordered Grimlock, got Cup, Blur and Jazz to look at with, I believe, Hot Rod and who else is arriving? And Scourge to arrive next month. So I will be reviewing them all. Here we've got Grimlock in his packaging. So he is a leader class figure, so he's going to be the biggest out of the bunch. And you can see he also comes with smaller Wheelie figure who does have some articulation, which we'll take a look at later. First of all, it's kind of capturing moments from that 86 movie. So on this one, they've gone with Grimlock and Wheelie. We get that bit where they're on the planet Quintessa, and the Dinobots stumble across Wheelie, and after a little bit of a kind of not exactly a ruckus, but after a little fight, I say, Wheelie ends up being friends with him, and you see he ends up kind of riding on Grimlock there with his little catapult, which is a feature we'll take a look at later. So that's the artwork on the front there. It's really cool. A nice little nod to the movie, and you do get the movie and the logo down here at the bottom. So you obviously see Grimlock in his robot mode there. Flip round to the side and you get the 86 logo here, which is kind of cut out, and Grimlock and Wheelie along the back here. And on the back we've got a big screen inspired scale, a detailed backdrop, and then in lots of different languages, and then it says a mockery of justice. So this is supposed to be when they're in with the kind of Sharkticons, and obviously Grimlock kind of challenges the authority of the Quintessons. So on the back, we've got a picture of Grimlock in his Dino Mode with Wheelie on the top there, and his gun mounted on the back. And in 24 steps, you can get him transformed into his robot mode. And down near the bottom here, you've got a picture of the backdrop, which is included. And at the bottom here, it says Grimlock and the Dinobots storm the Quintesson courtroom. So that is the scene that it's meant to be from. Without further ado, we'll get the figure out of the box and take a look at them, see what they're like. Here he is out of the packaging, and first impressions, pretty good. He's pretty hefty. There isn't a great deal of weight to the figure, I would say. There's some good paint apps on him, some good articulation. The Wheelie figure is painted but is hindered in terms of its articulation. As you can see, I've got him actually sitting on Grimlock's shoulder, which is actually a feature. There is a peg where he actually goes into his shoulder. So he's got a peg here, and that can go on either shoulder, and he can sit there. It's a little bit of a tight one, but he fits in there fine. And you see the legs are bent like this, so he's always going to be in that kind of sitting position. So wherever you pose this guy, you've kind of got to have him in that position. So he was sat on here or on top of Grimlock in his Dino Mode. But the figure itself is quite nicely painted, really. It's a shame you've got a load of kind of gaps and stuff in here, which is unfortunate. But the orange paint is done nicely on the grey plastic. The legs do move forward and back for what it's worth, and kind of in and out. There is waist articulation on this guy, and he can sort of move a little bit sort of forward and back. The face actually is really nice, and it's really well painted. You got silver and blues in there. It's really nice. That goes all the way around, and the head moves down, up, and arms are on a ball joint again. It's no bend there, and you've kind of got this pinky orange on here with the Autobot symbol, and then you get his little kind of crossbow thing, if that'll focus, and it is a single piece, just pegs into his hand. So just be careful not to lose that. He doesn't come with anything to actually draw it, but he's supposed to kind of, I guess the pose is kind of having him like that, so he's pointing this towards someone and posing it. You can take this out if you want to, but that's the look they're going for. And there's the look from the back. Not a bad little accessory. The peg is just there, so again, that can just peg on either side here as well. In fact, you can see there's a tiny little stress mark just on there, and that's where it's gone in. So I'm going to pop it on the other side. Not too bothered if it does leave a stress mark, but just interesting to see if it's as tight on the other side. It does go in okay. May possibly left a little bit of a stress mark, but yeah, it does go in all okay. So I can just pop them off to the side and look at the main figure, just seeing if that opens up. So all around him there's some nice sculpted detail. The chest section is painted, so it's painted gold, which is nice. You can see the Autobot symbol underneath this kind of smoky plastic piece here. There is blue in the eyes, like a metallic, and the face sculpt is spot on. You can move it down, up, and you can move that head all the way around, and a little bit confused Grimlock look. A little bit. You get waist articulation, which goes all the way around. You get, these are actually painted as well, the claws here, so that's nice. The arms, they rotate all the way around. It's just kind of a little bit hindered by this bit, but they can kind of bypass it out to the side like that. You get swivel here, bend in the elbow that goes up to there. It kind of breaks the sculpt a little bit. You can, this bit as well can kind of go the other way, and that's for Dino Mode. But then you have to push it back in. Okay, and there's a few pegs where you can peg in various different weapons, and then the hands are just a solid piece here, and they rotate around like that. There's some red paint underneath here, which is done. He's got this blaster here, like the original toy, and that's just fine. You know, there's no paint on it, but it's a big old gun. Sculpting on it's pretty nice, but no detail. These back pieces can move around here as well, but generally they kind of stay out of the way. The legs go up to there, and they hold absolutely fine. Feels good. Feels nice and smooth. There is ratchets, but they feel like really smooth, really small ratchets. Back to the back here. Again, holds brilliantly. Yeah, you can hear them there. They are done very well. Out to the side, again, holds brilliantly, no issue there. Swivel here, bend in the knee there, takes you back to there, and that holds nicely. Again, it's a ratchet, but it's a real soft ratchet. And then the feet take you out to there, so all the way. But if you even have it that far, it kind of, you've got all these kind of metallic pieces in here, and you've got paint on the legs as well. So you've got the blue, the red, and the green, and then the tail bits fold in here and just kind of fill in the gap in there, which is quite nice as well. You do have pegs underneath, so you can add other kind of weaponizer bits, and there is some sculpted work underneath as well. So pretty good. You know, I think you'll have some fun with this guy and get him into some decent poses, I think. And talking of poses, I shall bring in the backdrop to show you what that looks like, the Quintesson one. So it's the first one of these I've actually purchased, so you can see what they look like. So There he is on his backdrop there, and you can kind of you can bring these out to the side here like that. Bring them out there if you want to, just give you an idea of what he would look like. I think these would probably fit okay in a diorama, so like if you kind of wrapped them around a little bit, that would fit in okay. So I may well put them in with the quintessons. So just put that to the side there. And then next up, what we'll do is we've got the figure here, and while he's in robot mode, we'll do some comparison. So we'll bring in some other figures to see what he looks like. Right, so in terms of comparison, I've got Power of the Primes Grimlock here. So this is the one that's got the add-on kit, so he's probably slightly bigger than the regular version. But you can see how the two stack up. Clearly the Power of the Primes one is much smaller in scale to the leader version, and that goes as well if you're going to want to display your Dinobots. So this snarl here looks absolutely tiny compared to him, so there's no way you're going to be able to display those alongside each other. It just doesn't work with the Dinobots anyway. I thought I'd do snarl just because he wasn't actually in the 86 movie, so just to show you that. And then against some people that were in the movie, you got your sort of Alicon guard, and that's not a bad kind of scale there. He's quite small compared to him. And you get Blur here. So this is the Studio Series 86 one. So yeah, you can see he's a fair bit smaller than him. Yeah, Grimlock's massive compared to him there, I would say. And then you've got Sharkticon. So yeah, not quite small enough for him to stomp on and squash, but not too far off. And then obviously we've got your wheelie here. We've got the regular wheelie here as well, so you can see how much bigger he is, and then the regular wheelie up against him as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the ones I was going to do for a size comparison. Next up, what we'll do is we'll get this guy transformed into his Dino mode, and we'll take a look at him from there. So I'll just adjust the camera slightly to do that. So first things first, what we'll do is we'll take the gun out of his hand, like so. Just pop that off to the side. One of the first things you can do is push in the hands here, so they just rotate around and they'll fill in that gap. So do the same on the other side, like so. You can move the arms out of the way if you want. Just push them up for the time being, and we'll concentrate on the legs. Yeah, so I think that's right. So if you come around and you want to open these up like that, both sides, you can see where the tail sits in. These bits are going to fold over into there like so. This tail will fold out, but you can do that later if you like. And then this bit's going to fold up into here like so, and then these bits here should go into there like that, and then fold this bit out, and then you can close that bit down, but we'll wait until we've got the other one in place to do that. So just repeat the process. If this is in the way, just move it out of the way like that. Bring that down like that. These bits will also peg in together, so if you've kind of got them roughly lined up like that, you can peg them together like so. Then come around to this side here, and this is where you'll fold out the tail like that. Close them up, and you can see it just pegs down here at the bottom here. Around here. These bits should then peg together. So you kind of got the back end of this done. Then next up, this chest section is going to fold out and come down here. Like that. And the other place that it pegs in is just here and here. So you can see where, oh, actually, is it? I thought it was gold paint. I think it is. It's just hard to tell. I think there's a goldish tint to it, but you can see there's like the colour plastic here and then the gold paint here. So I think it is still painted. So that slots in there like that. So that's done. Then you bring his legs down here. Next up, you can leave them like that. Then you've got the head and fold it down here out of the way. These pieces are going to come around and down like so. You can then move the dino hand around and down and then peg together like so. This bit and then going to come down here and that'll click into place, and then move the head down, mess around with the jaws, and then these bits then can also, you can stand him upright if you want to, like that. He's a little bit tricky to stand actually, I find. Just getting the point right where, like, he'll stand fine like that with touching the floor, but if you want to bring this up, he kind of flops forward a little bit. So he will stand like that. These knees can also bend, so they can bend backwards like that. You do have to click them out to do it, so just be wary of that. So again, on the other side, just kind of click them out like that. Then you can get your Dino Mode there. And again, I don't know if it's anything I'm doing wrong there, or if I'm not pushing him enough, too far forward. But I can't get him to really stand up properly without that back end kind of falling down. So that's one of my gripes about it in this mode. I did get it quite far forward and in a bit of a kind of a Dino Mode where he's kind of like leaning forward and attacking, and he seemed to stand up okay on that one, but since then I've not really been able to replicate. I kind of had his feet forward like that, and see, it's not able to replicate it since. The best way to do it, I think, is kind of have one bit forward and one back like that. Seems to be the way of doing it, but it's not ideal. That side is, it is a good looking Dino Mode. It's just annoying that his tail kind of flumps back like that. If you want to, you can obviously stand him up like that. It's quite upright doing that. There's some nice paint around the neck, nice detailing. The eyes are done blue. The head moves all the way up, down, and he can open his mouth. And there is like a little blaster in there as well. He does have his teeth, but they're not painted in any way. The arms here rotate around on this little ball joint. You can kind of get them all the way around if you want. And then this hand here bends forward and back. There's a little claw. There's no paint on this. It's pretty bare. You get your Autobot symbol on here. Some red paint going across here as well. The sculpt work on this is pretty good, by the way. And then all the leg and everything else like that. And that's kind of the view from the back. Various different places where you can add different pegs. Yeah, so unless there's something I'm not doing right in the transformation, it doesn't look as if it is. This all looks as if it's pegged in properly. And here as well, that all looks as if it's fine. Yeah, it's just can't quite get the balance right on that. You can also peg in the gun. So there's a couple of tabs just here and here on this side here, and you just they tab into the sides there. You just line it up and tab it into place like that. So you've got your gun storage. I don't know if does he stand better like that? Doesn't seem to be. The thing is as well is there's, yeah, I don't know, that is annoying me now. The legs can go all the way out like that, so we can do the splits. They're the arms, so they can go all the way around. You can move these out and you can bend these forward and back, so you can get some impressive moves, and it can obviously move back as well. I mean, you could potentially get him kind of running, and he could kind of running. Oh, look at that! He's on his. I balanced him on his toe there, and he can stand up. So you can get some good poses out of him. It's just in those regular positions, you think just hold, and it just won't. So then if I brought the leg in straight, he just dropped back. So yeah, and the other thing as well, not helping, is these don't really give a lot, so they sort of fold back. So you could potentially get something if they kind of stuck in one position there. So he's managed to hold up okay there, but it doesn't take a lot for him to then fall back again. And then in terms of putting wheelie on there, it's actually quite a cool way in terms of how they've done it. So I'll stand them up here, and you can see on the side there, there's these bits here, I think it is, that it lines up with. And basically, they line up with these little grooves. Is it these grooves or these? Yeah, I'm sure it's these grooves here. So they just peg in there on either side like that, and then he fits in okay, like that. It's just so annoying. I mean, you could flip around his legs I guess if you wanted to, but yeah, that's probably the most annoying bit for me, is that trying to get him to stand up properly without, his tail supporting him really. But that still looks good. It's just annoying more than anything about the tail. So whichever way you have it, you can have his tail supporting him. That's not a problem. It just would have been nice. The weight would have been balanced better in that mode. So that's pretty much all the articulation. Oh, the head can also still go round here as well. So even if he's facing around one way, you can get him kind of growling at a Sharkticon here. So, for example, you got your little Sharkticon in here, which is quite cool. So you can get him. You can kind of get him looking down at him as well, and still kind of doing a bit of a growly face, and the Sharkticon looking up, being a bit scared, like, oh, like that. Obviously, if you want to use a different wheelie, you can do. That's how he scales in this mode. I think that scales really well for robot mode. And if you were kind of doing the blur, kind of pushing him into the shuttle, you could kind of do that. Obviously I've not got him properly done, but you get the impression. Get into the shuttle, good Dino, good Dino. And that kind of works quite well as well. That's not totally out of scale. That kind of works pretty well, I think. I think the other one I'll do is I'll transform the Power of the Primes one and just show those two off side by side. And here he is with the other Grimlock. I'm not sure I've done the tail right. But you can see, obviously, you know, this one doesn't hold anything on this mode, even though I've been moaning about him not really standing up properly. Yeah, this one clearly looks a ton better. So yeah, sorry Power of the Primes Grimlock. I think we've got a new king in town. Anyway, what we'll do now is I'll kind of summarize a little bit and give him his final ratings. Right, so here are my overall thoughts on the figure. In terms of articulation, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's been excellent throughout, but would have been nice if Wheelie had a little bit more articulation, and maybe if the arms here had just a little bit like the paws here maybe moved and things like that, would have been a little bit of extra articulation, and maybe even like a tilt on the dino feet would have been cool. But other than that, an 8, pretty solid throughout. A transformation I've given as a 7. I thought it was fun and easy to transform, but nothing really new in terms of the transformation. Nothing we haven't seen before with Grimlock. I guess you know what else are they gonna do with it? It seems like the standard transformation of these bits kind of fold out, the chest folds down into the sort of belly of the dinosaur. The head flips over, all those kind of standard things really, but nothing wrong with it at all. Accessories, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. You get Wheelie, who interacts with Grimlock in robot mode and in dino mode. The gun's okay, and the display is a nice touch as well. And then in terms of kind of paint, I would say the paint 8 out of 10. I would probably say is applied in all the right places. I think to get a higher mark, I would like to have seen them paint the teeth and the arms. Apart from that, maybe they added a few paint on the kind of like pistons and things like that, where they've put in a lot of detail, but still pretty good. Build, I would have to give it an 8 out of 10. Throughout, it's pretty solid. There's a light feel to it, but it feels good in hand. It feels a good quality. I can't see any issues there in terms of quality. X Factor, I would give it an 8.5. It's pushing on to a 9, but not quite there. The 86 line looks great. Ticks all the boxes as a collector, and Grimlock, such an iconic character. I just had to get him. And it's great that you get this kind of display with it. It all goes back to the movie and everything else like that. So there's a lot of nostalgia and everything tied in with this character. I think that's fantastic. Price 7 is an expensive set. I think it's around £50. I think it is. It's either 50 or 40. I think. So expensive is on the higher end. It's a leader class figure, but I haven't sort of downmarked it too much, just because prices of deluxe and everything are around 20 quid. So it's probably about right, but it still feels expensive. £50 still feels expensive, I think, for this. Overall, I would give him an 8 out of 10. I think he looks great in both modes. He's very poseable, and you get the choice of it's a great choice including with Wheelie. I thought something different, and something to be applauded by Hasbro. Just try something different with that. It's cool that you can interact in both modes. I think the only sort of downside is the posing in Dino mode, where I mentioned about that. There is another little thing where you can do that, where you can sort of turn the ankles the other way, so you can sort of turn this bit one way and turn it the other way, which gives it a little bit of extra stability. That's how I've got him standing now, without the tail sitting on anything. But it does kind of ruin the sculpt slightly, and maybe some extra paint in a few places where I mentioned about the teeth and maybe the arms. Other than that, I think he's a great figure, and a welcome addition to the collection. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.